Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Mouseketeer known as Stevie, and beside me is my co-host, the all-knowing crown jewel of Disney fandom, Cameron. We are just two dads raised on the mouse, here to give you tips, tricks, news, and overall entertainment for all things Disney. So turn us up in your pumpkin carriage, or maybe you're watching us on a magic mirror. But either way, we invite you to be our guest for an episode of Dadventures Around the Kingdom. What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Dadventures Around the Kingdom. And now this is going to be a very special episode because for the first time, we are going to be giving you our review of, I know Cam's favorite, a Marvel movie. Cam, do you want to tell them the movie?
If you're listening to this, it's in the title, but we're doing Fantastic Four, and I'm very excited to talk about this movie. We got to both see it on Friday separately because we're in different parts of the country. Steve was up in Massachusetts. Yes. I was down in Florida. I actually got to see it at Disney Springs in Walt Disney World. But now we're here to talk about it, and I'm very excited to do this. This is our first movie review on this show. Back in my old podcast, we used to review movie and TV shows, and that was like really, really fun to do. So I'm excited to dive in and talk a little bit about Fantastic Four. Now, I want to preface, this is not going to be a huge deep dive. There are plenty of other podcasts that will recap beat by beat, everything that happens in the story. They'll dissect everything. This is just us. We're two dads. We had fun watching. Well, I had fun watching the movie. We'll see what TV had fun. A little spoiler alert for that is I had fun. Just talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we thought of the movie overall. Like I said, we're not going beat by beat. This should not be an hour-long episode. You'll see how long it is when you're looking at the episode. But again, very excited to be talking about movies, especially a brand new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, which is my favorite property right now, I would say, is Marvel. So,
yeah. And we want to make sure that everybody is aware. Spoiler warning, if you plan to go see this movie in theaters, pause this episode and wait until you go see the movie. But to help our numbers, go rewatch an old episode.
Yeah.
But we do want to let you know we might mention we're going to mention a few things about the movie. And if you do not want any spoilers, now is your chance to dip out. I will give you a moment of silence to pause if you are driving and you need a second. Okay. So let's dive into it. Fantastic Four. So to kick things off, Cam, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being Quantum Mania and 10 being...
Ooh, interesting, because I don't think that's a 1, but go ahead, keep going.
And 10 being... I'm going to go with the first Iron Man movie.
Okay, fair.
What would you rank this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
Are we doing decimals or no? Flat numbers.
You can do decimals. Again, it's our show.
I'm going to go 7.5. If you told me flat numbers, I'd bump it up to an 8. I really enjoyed this movie. I think on a rewatch, I could absolutely give it a straight up 8. This alone in Fantastic Four movie history is a billion out of 10 compared to the old ones that came out. But no, I really like this movie. I understand I'm going to a Marvel movie when I'm seeing this, right? I'm not planning on seeing Oppenheimer. I'm not planning on seeing The Godfather. I'm planning on seeing a fun superhero movie. And that's exactly what this was for me. It delivered in every way, shape, and form, where this was a fun superhero movie that really bled into Jack Kirby's like art style and story style from the original Fantastic Four comics. And it was really cool that this was a movie that was unabashedly a superhero movie. Just like Superman, if anybody saw that, like it wasn't afraid to be kooky. It wasn't afraid to have a guy that stretches really long with this bright blue suit. They didn't try to do this modernized crap like they did in the 2015 movie. It was a comic book movie. That's what we came to see. That's what we saw. I had a blast during the entire time. There was not a second where I wasn't smiling, laughing, or crying in it. And the crying was because it was a beautiful moments. But I thoroughly enjoy this. Like I said, right now, 7.5. I'm hoping to see this again in theaters because I liked it that much. And I'm just really excited to have a good Fantastic Four movie.
All right. Well, as you know, because you spoke with my wife was not the biggest fan of the movie. But for myself, on a scale of 1 to 10, this movie gets a Fantastic Four.
Out of 10?
Out of 10, it gets a 4. I thought that I was going to see a Marvel superhero movie, and instead I felt like I got an hour and a half of Sophie's Choice.
Okay.
And I understand. I guess I looked at this movie after watching it. I slept on it. I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe I missed something. But this felt like, again, it's the movie that is. We're just trying to set the groundwork for what new is coming. It seemed like this is a move the story along kind of movie for me, because I know many people weren't huge fans of the last 3 Fantastic Four movies, or the last 2 renditions of
2 renditions, 3 movies. Yep.
That first rendition, with Chris Evans, I actually like that one.
Mm-hmm.
I unlike the one with Michael B. Jordan. I was a little so-so, but that first one I liked. This one, I guess what was strange for me was every other Fantastic Four, you kind of come in and you go through how they got their powers, how it built, and in this one they kind of just breezed over it. So it was. I'm glad that you mentioned Superman, because I thought about Superman the same. It's kind of like, imagine you paid to go see the Superman movie, and out of a 2-hour-long movie, you get 15 minutes of Superman and then the day in the life of Clark Kent. And that's how I felt with this movie. It was a lot of, here's their everyday, here is their, being parents, being a brother. And I get that, but it was like watching the B-roll of superheroes. Like, let's watch how let's watch how Doctor Strange does his laundry. It's like, no. I want to see the fighting. Like you heard from my wife, it wasn't the action, and I was like, you know what? I do kind of agree with that. There wasn't a lot of action, and I missed that in a like fight scenes, all of that. That's what I wanted to see. I'm sorry if I broke your heart.
No, you don't break my heart. And here's the thing: is everybody is entitled to their own opinion, right? And I don't think you have to read a comic book to like be a fan of the MCU, right? But I will say every single thing you just said about why you didn't like this movie is the exact reason I love this movie, because that I know you're not a big comic book like reader. That is how the Fantastic Four is. Okay, they are not the beat 'em up superheroes. A lot of their stuff is their space explorers, their adventurers, their scientists, and their family. That's their core. They happen to fight bad guys every now and again, like you saw in this movie, but a lot of it is using intellectual stuff. So like how they beat Galactus, they beat him with basically essentially creating a portal, a time warp. That is exactly how the Fantastic Four would fight Galactus in the comics. Whereas in the old movies, it would just be a full-on action movie, which I totally get that there's a place for that. But the fact that it wasn't that for this movie is why I liked it, because that's the Fantastic Four I know. So when I first got into comics, I wasn't really allowed to when the movies started coming out as a kid, before the MCU, when it was the Fox movies and Sony, I wasn't really allowed to watch X-Men because my parents thought it was a little too violent for me to watch. I was allowed to watch Spider-Man, and I was allowed to watch and when I say X-Men, I mean the X-Men live action. I grew up on the animated series. But I was allowed to watch the Spider-Man live action, and I was allowed to watch the Fantastic Four live action. And I liked both of those movies. I'm the good Spider-Man. I'm talking about Fantastic Four. I liked both those movies when I was a kid. But with that came with me diving into comic books. I remember when Newberry Comics was more now it's just a movie store and music and all that stuff. But back in the day, that it was that too. Don't get me wrong, but that was comic book central, right? So I remember my dad would bring me there. I'd get comics, and that's where I got into reading Fantastic Four and got into reading Spider-Man, because that was what the movies I was watching were. And I remember reading Fantastic Four, and I was like, I didn't like the comics because there was nothing like I saw in the movie. Now I'm older, I read more comics, especially because there hasn't been a Fantastic Four movie in 10 years now, and the last one sucked. I've grown to love those comic books, and don't get me wrong, like I still like a good fighting story, whether it's Spidey, Miles, Thor, the X-Men comics. I love all those, but I love the difference of the Fantastic Four, where it is the most important thing is that family, it's that science, that's the space exploration, all that good stuff there, with a little bit of the action fighting scenes brought in. But at the core, that's not the bread and butter for Fantastic Four. What we saw in the movie, that's the bread and butter comic book wise, and that's why this movie worked perfectly for me, because it was a comic book taking into real life form. But I totally understand that for you that didn't work, but for me, and this isn't to say, like, I'm not trying, like, I hate people are like, oh, I'm better than you because I read the source material. No, F that. That's not what I mean. It's just like, but that's why I appreciate it more, because I did get to read that source material, and that's essentially what I grew up starting to love the Fantastic Four. Like I said, I loved the first two movies when I was 10, but now understanding what the characters are, especially when you have people like Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, Jonathan Hickman taking runs on these characters, and those are the ones I kind of grew up reading a little bit, especially the older stuff, seeing that in the live action. That's why I love this movie, and that's why it's so high for me. But I get why that's lower for you, when that you were expecting the first two movies and then got this, if that makes sense.
It was just so jarring, because I mean, I haven't read Marvel comics since I was like 17, but Fantastic Four wasn't one of the comics. I guess it just wasn't a comic book series that I read a whole lot of.
And to be fair, Fantastic Four recently came back into comics like 2-3 years ago. There was a long run. There were no new Fantastic Four comics for, like, I don't even want to quantify every year, because if I say 5 years, it might have been 10. If I say 10 years, it might have been 3. But for a long time, the Fantastic Four were in no books. There was like a series where basically, I don't remember what it's called, but in Superman, be like the Phantom Zone, where the Fantastic Four just went away into a different pocket universe, and they were just gone for like a long time. Until probably like 2018, 2019, Marvel brought them back as their own comic series, and now they're running every month. But that makes sense, because again, there was a time period where there's just no Fantastic Four in comics at all, period, full stop.
So as somebody who, like, for these specific heroes, never read the comics, it was just very jarring to look at these characters. Like I said, I love the first rendition, and to look at these characters in comparison to the first rendition, when I would watch them and I liked, it was like, all right, you guys have Reed Richards. I know he's smart, but he was portrayed as a glorified professor. And I was like, it always seemed like he was more than that. And then what really I absolutely hated was Johnny. In every rendition that they've had, obviously outside of this one, Johnny was the pretty boy, the bit of a jerk, still acts like a kid. And in this one, he still had like a little bit of that, that immatureness. But I felt like for a majority of the movie, he's doing linguistic homework. And he's trying to figure out, what it is that the Silver Surfer was saying and what the language was. I had to do some research, because I also felt like there was so much more they could have done with the Silver Surfer. They made her look like, I don't care what gender she is, but they made her seem like she was nothing more than just like almost like a petty henchman, like a lapdog. And in the first rendition, when they brought Silver Surfer in, it was like epic. It was like, oh, this is bomb. Like, I knew Silver Surfer worked for Galactus, but you guys made it seem like she couldn't do as much, and it was off-putting, I guess, for me.
So, counterpoint, that is comic Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer is in the comics. He's a dude. In this, it's a female. The Shabal is actually the lover of the Silver Surfer in the comics. So it was kind of cool little twist that they made her the Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he is. He does not like being the Herald of Galactus, but that is his lot in life. So like, that's why this again works for me. Like, I love this because that is exactly, whether it's male, female, I don't care. That is literally the Silver Surfer. And then the turning on Galactus at being his herald, and then turning on him, like, that was full stop. Grab a comic book from a shelf. That's what you're gonna get from Silver Surfer. So again, that's for every reason you're saying you didn't like it. That's why I loved it, because I was like, they picked up a comic book and they did the source material. I disagree with your take on Reed being a glorified professor. Like, Reed Richards is one of the smartest people in the Marvel comic universe, and in this, like, what I liked about it is he still is really smart, right? And like, he's burdened by his genius a lot, because like, him and Sue have that fight. The black and white answer of what they should have, of what, I'm not saying they should have done this, obviously not, because absolutely no, but the black and white answer of how you defeat the Galactus is just hand the child over, and he knows that. So for him, like, he's one of the smartest men in the world. He knows that's smart. That is technically the smart, calculated thing to do if you had no emotional attachment, right? But because of that emotional attachment, it's a struggle for him, because he's so smart. He goes, I know the answer for this. Now I have to come up with a second answer. So I don't think he was a glorified professor. He's burdened by his genius. Kind of. I said Oppenheimer earlier, like, about talking about movies. Like, he does remind me of the Oppenheimer character, where he's so burdened by his genius that, like, it affects his relationship with Sue. Even that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, is when he's like, I get what they're saying. This mathematically, I think, like, it all makes sense why we hand our son over to Galactus, but we're obviously not going to do that. But he's so burdened, because he goes, that if you should tell me I'm the smartest man in the world, that is the smartest answer, what that should be doing. But I'm this boy's father. I'm this woman's husband. Like, we're not doing that. So I have to come up with another solution to it. I thought it was great. I really loved reading this,
and that's why I was like, I feel like I'm just watching Sophie's Choice.
But, and again, that's kind of a Fantastic Four comic book a little bit. That is, and with your point on Johnny, I love this take on Johnny. I understand the whole in the comics, Johnny's a ladies' man too, but the man was an astronaut. He's smart. You can't just send him to space just being a pretty boy like they did in the first, like, rendition with Chris Evans. Like, he is a smart character. He's not Reed Richards smart, don't get me wrong, but like, he is a smart guy. He had to be an astronaut. Like, they didn't just send Reed as like the smartest man in the world, and then like Sue, Johnny, and Ben. Like, these people are world-class scientists that got selected for that Reed helped pick for this mission. So he is smart. So him doing that was pretty cool, because they are working on that in the comics. I feel like they're making him more like in that realm of being smart. Obviously not Reed smart, but I liked it, and I liked that they kept referring to him as being like this crazy bachelor kind of thing. And I like that he's like, kind of like, can we chill? Like, I got other stuff going on too. I like that he fought against that, and that's why he was so adamant. Like, I got to do this by myself, because like, they're just gonna laugh all over me. I need to show them I can do this, and that's why I like Johnny in this movie too. I loved all four of these characters. I know we're trying to keep this short, but I have some bullets.
No, I mean, I understand, and then because I guess it's just maybe I just need to see.
I'm gonna buy you a comic book. I'm gonna buy you Solve Everything. Seriously, I'll let you borrow it. Actually, it's a Jonathan Hickman run. It's called Solve Everything. It is front to back an awesome comic, and like, this came out. Well, it came out years ago, but they made like a compact version, like a book size instead of comic book size. Recently it came out, and I bought it. I think I have the comic book version too somewhere in this house, but I have the compact version now too. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how good this run was. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cause like, I gotta see, I guess, how it is. Cause yeah, like Ben's strength and all of that. And I felt like in the movie, he's like, I mean, I think it was in both the past two renditions, they show Ben, because again, this is once they just got their powers, and they show Ben kind of struggling with accepting this new form that he's in. But then in this one, Ben, like, I'm fine with him just walking the streets. Like that's cool. Wear your 7XL sweater vest and do whatever you want. But I wasn't a huge. I felt the love interest type of thing of where he has a love interest, but he decides I'm not really moving forward with it, or he's too timid to move forward with it. I was a little iffy on that, and yeah, it just wasn't. He's just the main person where I'm just like, I want to see some action from Ben.
Sure.
Where was,
Ben,
like you said, clobber in time? Like, no, that's just the cartoons. Either way, I want to see you hit something.
If you knew the backstory of Clobbering Time in the comics, it would make you so sad. Clobbering Time is not nice. I do not like Clobbering Time. It is bad. What happened to poor Ben? To your point, though, CV, like, thank God we didn't get Ben sulking again. I can't do it again. Okay, so that's why I like it, because again, they got their powers 4 years ago when this movie starts.
Yep.
He's learned to grow. And that's why I'm like, hey, I liked where we're at here, because if I had to see him sulk in the streets again, of course he's sad. He looks at the TV monitor, it shuts off, and he sees his reflection after he goes from Ebon to, or whatever the actor's name. He goes to his like actual face to the thing face. I didn't need to see full sad Ben Grimm. I will say Ben got the most done dirty on editing floor, because you could tell there's a lot of scenes in there that were just cut, like that whole love interest thing. That's truly my only complaint with this movie is Ben and his love interest, because that definitely got cut. There was definitely more scenes from there, and we've heard that there's been things that were cut. I mean, it was an hour and 55-minute runtime from start to the end of the credits. So my only complaints is that Ben scenes getting cut, excuse me, from this movie, and there's like 15-20 minutes. If you had 15-20 minutes this movie, we're in a 10 range potentially, honestly. Like I truly believe that, because I loved it that much, but we're missing a good 15-10 minute extra minutes in there, and I wish the majority of those were dedicated to Ben and the love interest, or just Ben in general as a character, because he did not get the biggest shine.
They didn't do much of anything, and that the whole love interest situation, they could have just cut that if they were gonna chop it up the way that they did. There was no point.
I would have rather more scenes with Ben and Sue, because Ben and Sue have a really great relationship, like friendship wise, in the comics. Where in like the old ones, like Ben was in love with Sue and like had to accept, hey, my buddy's marrying her kind of thing, but they still have like a good relationship. So that way it was really cool, where like you can tell how well Ben knows Sue when he was like smiling, because he's like, I know you, Sue, you're pregnant. Like I love their relationship in the comics as a friendship kind of thing. So I wish we had more of that.
One thing I made note of that. I don't care how good of a friend you are as a guy. Cam, would you ever go to any of your female friends and go, "Are you pregnant?"
No.
Never in a million years.
No.
Maybe he's got. Maybe if I have a jaw made of granite, I might say this, but you don't just say that. I don't care how long you guys could have been friends since you were 4 years old. You don't just flat out, as a man, ask a female, "Are you pregnant?" I don't care how weird you're acting. And I was like, I get it.
But my point is, like, he knows her well enough that he knew that's what was happening. But I got a couple more points, Stevie, I want to talk about. Do you have anything else you want to chat about before I bring up my points of what I love?
No,
we're on the Stevie hating hour with camera muting everything, so I gotta give my love points here.
Yeah, so you know what, you give your bullet points, and if I have anything that I want to throw out with there, you go ahead. So give me your first bullet point.
All right, team chemistry, outstanding in this movie. They accomplished like character dynamics that the Avengers took years to build up to in the first movie. The first 5 minutes of this movie, I could have thought this was Fantastic Four 5. That's how good the team chemistry was between the characters and the actors, most importantly. So bravo to all four of them. They were great. You could tell they've been working in this universe for a while, that they are a family. They're more than just superheroes. They're a family as well. Great job. Individually, I thought every character killed it, excuse me. I think Thing got done dirty, like I said, by the editing floor, but the scenes we did get of the thing, awesome, really cool. This is the I kind of mentioned, sorry, but this is the Fantastic Four characters that I read in the comic books growing up. When I was getting into the comics in 2005, when the first movie came out, Pedro was the one I was the most nervous about coming into this because I just really didn't see him as Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm.
He was perfect. I literally thought he was perfect. He was stoic when he needed to. He was smart. He was burdened by his intellect. I thought he was a fan-freaking-tastic Reed Richards. I'm glad he wasn't the sole focus on this film. Like, this was clearly a Sue film. If you're going to pick somebody on the Fantastic Four,
yeah, I would agree.
Film. And I'm glad about that because that was another complaint people had. I don't care about it, but Pedro Pascal has been very oversaturated right now in media. Like in different movie shows, like he's literally in 3 movies this year. I think one of the movies came out last week, and then he had a Fantastic Four come up this week.
Yeah, he's blown up in the past 3-4 years. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of Pedro Pascal fatigue right now because he wasn't the main guy. Where you'd think like the main guy was Sue, was the leader of this group. By snuffing Reed a little bit and Pedro Pascal a little bit, made his character better. I think if he was the shining star of the show, I might have had a different reaction. I loved what they did with Reed. I thought Pedro killed it, but again, all of them kill it, right? Especially Ebon killed it. Every single, all 4 of them were just great. Visually, one of the most beautifully stunning MCU movies. I will put this number 1. Honestly, visually stunning. It is, the CGI in it is perfect. I think it's the most visually stunning MCU movie, besides maybe. Like in that list, I'd put like Thor Ragnarok was visually stunning. I'd put Guardian, all 3 Guardians, honestly, visually stunning. I put that up there in the pantheon with that. Great.
There were a few areas where I think the CGI was poor. One of them is when Ben picks up the car. That one scene, I don't know what, it looked awful. I don't know why. And I saw some stuff online that what they were doing was they had like they had somebody wearing the Ben costume to kind of like even it out a little bit. And that helped for a majority of the movie. But for some reason, that first scene when he's in front of like the schoolyard or whatever, and he picks up the car and he turns and looks at the kids, it wasn't even him that looked bad. It was sort of like they had like 3D editing behind him, and it was that jarring, almost like old school green screen type of feel. And that was the only part where I was like, that's that part.
See, I never picked up on that one. The ones that I was more focused on was like the race against Silver Surfer in space. Like that, it was great. But
yep, that was a good one.
A couple more things. A bunch of scenes stood out to me. I loved that scene with that space race, basically trying to get Silver Surfer into the black hole. That was sick. I love that the reporters are just so used to him winning, kind of like Superman, where they're just used to Superman winning in the James Gunn film. But they're like, "What do you mean you didn't defeat Galactus? Like that's crazy."
Yeah,
of course you do, because they were just assuming, "Okay, how'd you do it? Good job, guys. You saved the world."
And they came back, so we must have won.
So that was great. I loved the backstory montage, as told by the 4-year anniversary of the Fantastic Four. We saw villains like Mole Man, and Subterranea, which is really cool. Giganto, which is like the first comic book cover Fantastic Four. That was really cool to get Giganto in there. You didn't see Red Ghost, but you saw Super Apes, so that was really cool. And then they mentioned like Diablo and the Wizard. These are all really popular Fantastic Four characters, so I liked that we got little bits and pieces of that.
They threw in the Easter egg for Dr. Doom.
Yeah, with Latveria being empty.
Yeah, with Latveria being empty, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I literally had to look it up because I was like, wait, Latveria, like, because I was like, they're not going to just show this empty spot.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had to look it up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Dr. Doom's spot. Okay.
King Doom, baby. And then another scene I loved, Sue's death and revitalization scene with Franklin. Oh, so good. I think this movie just means a lot more to me because like having a kid too, I think that helps. But
maybe
some other things I liked. Love that the Fantastic Four defeated Galactus using mostly science, where it was like, hey, we just got to push this guy into this science trap that we did. That was great. Because again, very Fantastic Four like.
Can I just say, maybe it's just me. When Galactus steps onto Earth, why did it seem, maybe for me, and I couldn't get past it, a scaling issue. Galactus looks so much bigger than the Times Square space that they had.
Because he's massive.
Exactly. But when he's finally getting pushed towards it, he looks smaller. Like he looks like he's smaller than the
trap part.
Yeah, like the
trap parts were huge. Like if you saw, like when the cutscenes were happening, like when they were building them around the world, like those were almost as big as the pyramids.
Yeah, like but Galactus is like 4 times bigger than those. And when he lands, like the pyramids aren't bigger than the Statue of Liberty. They're not taller than the Statue of Liberty. But when he lands and he looks at the Statue of Liberty like it's American Girl doll. But yet when he gets to the trap, he's almost like, it seemed almost like the same size as the Statue of Liberty. And that scaling,
I'm gonna have to look at that then.
That scaling, like I couldn't get past that. I was like, it just, like they didn't think about that, because it was like, oh, we're getting to the final plan, and maybe people will be more focused on, the action sequence that's going on and the adrenaline going. But I was like, he was way bigger than that. Way bigger than that.
I'll have to on a rewatch. I'll have to look out for that, because I that was not anything I really paid attention to. I guess like the changing of side differences.
Yeah, when he landed, I was like, he might be too big for this trap. And then when I saw him looking at the Statue of Liberty, I was like, he's definitely too big for this trap. How is this going to work? And then I saw the ball and everything, and I was like, okay, let me see how this works. But yeah, go ahead.
3 more. Speaking of Galactus was awesome. So was Silver Surfer. I can't believe we got good Galactus in movie and not Dust Cloud. That was sick. I need more Fantastic Four. I hope we get Val, which is Reed Sue's second-born daughter. She's like, I don't know if you know this, Stevie. She's like top 3 smartest human beings in Marvel Comics when she's like 4, basically. Really want her because her and Franklin are really cool together. And she has some ties with Dr. Doom too, which is pretty cool. I have one more note. Where is it? Overall, loved it. I left the movie really happy and excited. Not as, I would say, like if I'm ranking Superman and Fantastic Four, which I don't want to pit these. I love both of them, right? Like it's like that Michael Scott meme where he's holding Jim and Pam's hand and he's like, just, I love you both so much. That's how I feel about Fantastic Four and Superman. If I'm going to pick one over the other, I give the edge to Superman. I left that movie a lot more happy. It's like a movie I haven't stopped thinking about 3 weeks. Fantastic Four I only saw 4 days ago, so maybe it's still going to be the same way. But I want more of the Fantastic Four. I loved it so much. Like I said, I think Ben got done dirty. I think there's like about 15-20 more minutes of story there, and a bunch of that is Ben that helps build his character out some more. And I even put in my note here, and I said it already once, I really wish there was a Ben and Sue scene just by themselves, them two, because they have a really cool relationship in the comics. But yeah, I love this movie, and I totally get it's not for everybody, but the comic booky kind of people I've been listening to, where I think we're kind of lockstep on what we feel about this. And again, I'm not trying to put anyone that down that's not a comic book fan. It's just like, it's like when you read a book and then watch the movie, sometimes you hate it, sometimes you love it, and sometimes you just love the movie because you never read the book and you have no idea. Like there are a lot of people who love the Harry Potter movies that never read the book. For me, like I love Goblet of Fire. It's one of my favorite books of all time. The movie's not great at all. Like it's really bad because they miss out on so many things. For me, this was the comic book turned to life, and I like the comic book, so that's why I think I enjoyed this movie so much. Personally, I think it added depth to it. So again, I'm not putting anyone down for not reading the comics. It's just that's why I loved it so much, because I have that, and that is my experience with the Fantastic Four.
Maybe that's what it is. This was not a movie for your regular MCU fan. This was a comic book fandom movie, because they made a movie, like you said, almost to a T, following the comics. And I feel like MCU has grown so much that you're gonna have a ton of people that have not read the comics but love the MCU movies, and this was one that like again, like this is for the page turners, not for the Disney Plus fans.
But I think it's gonna be okay because it's gonna. We have that end credit scene with Doom, which we haven't talked about yet. I love that end credit scene. I like that they didn't show RDGA's face yet.
I wish they had to be. I wanted, like, even if it was just like a glimpse of his face, just something to like move the shadow just a little bit, just so you
hood and mask good enough for me.
And then that's it. Like that's what I want, because you want. Again, anyone that follows the news knows that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Just put that a little bit of touch in there, because again, you have some people that aren't following the news, and those people are going to be the ones to go, "Oh snap! Is that who I think it is? Like what's happening?" And it causes this mass hysteria. And I thought that would have been a perfect Easter egg, instead of just, it's we have a Doctor Doom, which, to be completely honest, anybody that's like me, that if you hadn't read the comics for Fantastic Four and you saw the other two movies, you're kind of like, so where's Victor at? Like, it's a Fantastic Four movie and we don't got the big bad that I'm used to. What's going on here? And then you finally show him in the end credit scene, but you don't want to show the face. It's like,
but Stevie, like, think about, like, don't you? I would think at least like 75% of people going to see this movie, it's the 30-something project in the MCU. Like, they know these people going to the movie. Maybe not all of them. Like I said, I'll give it 70%. Maybe 30% of people have no clue. But like, I would say 70% of people know that's RDJ. So like that's why it's like I hate hand holding in these comic book movies. I hate it so much because like you said, like you kind of mentioned like about like not getting the backstory in full.
Yeah.
I know it. They go into it's not even that big of a deal. They go into space, cosmic rays, boom, they super like great. Okay, move on, get it to the chorus, let's get to the good stuff. Like we've seen that. Same with Batman. I don't need to see his parents get shot again. I don't need to see Superman get launched from a blowing up Krypton like to Earth. Like I don't need to see that. I don't need my hand to be held for that. So like in this case, I was fine with this because again, I don't need my hand to be held of like that's RDJ. Like I knew that. Right, so like for me, I'm good with that, and I knew Doom was coming because the next movie is freaking Doomsday. Like, you know what I mean?
What is a superhero movie without those scenes of the PTSD, the flashbacks? That you Batman without those flashbacks at least once or twice, like that reference,
because he's sad.
Who he is. That's what drives him.
But they did that in this movie too, Stevie, where like Reed still has the guilt of like. I effed up. That's why Ben looks like a rock. That's why my wife can turn invisible. Like they basically touched on that without giving. I mean, they did give actually scenes because they have him like crashing to earth and then Ben punching the window. So we got that in this movie. Yeah. To be fair, but like Johnny's like, can we fix the suits? Like I want to go back to space, and he's like, no. Like Reed Richards could fix those suits in 5 seconds. Like no, like the second they landed on Earth, he could have fixed those suits to like adjust for their powers. He didn't because it would just reminded him of that guilt and that burden. So like, yeah, we didn't get to see the cosmic rays hit him, but like we get all that. You know what I mean?
True.
I don't need to see it the third time. The second time made it so much worse. I hate Miles Teller's version. Not Miles Teller, he's a great actor. But that movie with him, what's her face? I can't think of her name off the top of my head. The girl from Community, and then Michael B. Jordan. Like what a crap movie that was. So my last point, thank God we got a good Fantastic Four movie. I love this movie. I really, if I could go see it again tomorrow, I would. I loved it.
Yeah, I will say, so action aside, there were some things that I did like about the movie, specifically about the characters. I actually really loved watching Reed Richards going through that like dad anxiety.
Yep.
And watching him struggle through that, I did feel like they definitely built him out so much as a character. The whole like, I'm gonna build this whole machine to scan to see if he has powers, and still, even though he's the smartest person in the world, still not understanding you can't scan for something you can't comprehend.
And yeah, if they had mutants in this universe, he would have been able to figure it out, but they didn't have mutants in this universe.
You're scanning for things that you know. you're scanning for, and so it's like, oh, this piece of Galactus is millions, billions of years old. You can't scan for something that you have no comprehension of.
Mhm.
You have aliens now that are coming to your planet to see you. And yes, you guys have traveled, galaxies. You guys have done all this stuff, but you don't understand all of this. And just seeing his struggle of like, I'm trying to protect my family, I'm trying to protect my son. And for the first time, as I'm sure any father feels, for the first time, no matter how smart you are, no matter how tough you feel you are, whatever it is, certain things of just being a regular dad, you can't figure out. You're
Mhm.
just not going to be able to comprehend it. And it does scare you. It does like keep you up at night because it's like, and just watching him deal with that, I thought was expert. I mean, expert acting by Pedro. This
Yeah.
is why he's getting so many roles as it is.
The
He's a good
humanization of Reed is top notch in this for sure.
Yes, his humanization was perfect. And when we first got to see Galactus and just his eyes lit up, the first thing I thought in my head is Galactus a watcher? He looks like
Oh, yeah.
he looked like from What If. He looked like a
Yeah.
watcher, and I was like, that is hilarious. Sue, easily mom of the year.
100%.
That was the way that she, like, her powers, all of that. One thing that Katie did like, she was like, I wish when I was pregnant, I could just like make my stomach invisible just to kind of see.
Check in.
Like,
Vanessa Kirby
is.
I know she won't get nominated for this because they don't really nominate superhero movies, but like Vanessa Kirby, I'd give her an Oscar nod. Now, I wouldn't give her the award, but I'd give her a nod, at least a little nomination, because Vanessa Kirby was fantastic in this film.
Yeah, I thought that was good. What else do I have here? Yeah, I said the CGI. Beginning of the movie is not that big of a deal. The 7-Up sign. I was like, I had to look it up. I was like, is 7-Up still made?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I haven't seen 7-Up.
I had a 7-Up like 2 weeks ago, actually.
In years.
I
didn't
said the
know
same thing to
7-Up.
Lisa. I was like, I didn't know they made it. They actually have 7-Up Zero, like a Coke Zero. They made a 7-Up Zero. I was like, I can't believe they made this. And I actually had one. Not bad.
I did not know that 7-Up was still a thing. The first end credit scene, I like that they showed Doctor Doom. I do wish they would have showed Robert Downey Jr.'s face, even just a little bit. The second end credit scene,
your wife and I had a fight about this today,
was useless.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Because, Stevie, you know what's even more useless? At the end of Eternals, where you show Harry Styles as Eros, aka Star Fox, and that will never be used again. Harry Styles will never be in the MCU again. Don't give me any excitement of like, here's what might be happening, and then just scrap it. I'm fine with them going, like, they know 100% Doom is coming. Good, show that. If we're unsure where we're going with something, do not show us. Like, just give us these stupid little ones. Like, yeah, you're waiting for the end to see if it's going to be a worthwhile, and sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I love that right now. So,
we could have a whole episode on MCU characters that just dropped into the void.
And that's what I was trying to tell Katie today at work is like, I'm good with that, because either show nothing or do something funny like that, but don't show me something that maybe this might happen. Like, there's so many things I don't trust. Like, there was that end credit scene, Shang-Chi, where Shang-Chi's talking to like Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner.
Yep.
We haven't seen Shang-Chi since. I thought we'd at least see him one more time before Doomsday next year, but like, no, he hasn't been in anything, not even Miss Marvel, where like everybody kind of assumes the Ten Rings is related to the bangle that Miss Marvel has. Like, none of that. So like, I'm good with these end credit scenes being either show us 100% this is something that's happening, or do these funny little things. That's what an end credit, like James Gunn is really taking that seriously with the Superman movies. Like the 2 end credit scenes for Superman, you did not have to stay through. But again, I'm fine with that because you didn't need to do that.
I will say Marvel has made end credits a thing.
It's Marvel's problem. It's Marvel's fault that now people expect this. So now they need to readjust the expectations for people.
Yeah, so it's like if you're going to have an end credit scene, fine. Honestly, you could have just moved the Doctor Doom one to the end, because I think like what gets
I disagree,
annoying.
Stevie. If you put that cartoon, people are walking out of that theater.
No, I'm saying get rid of the cartoon. Just put the
I
Doctor
apologize.
Doom part at the end.
Gotcha.
Because my whole thing is, like you said, we are trained now. No matter what, you're staying until the absolute end of the credits.
Sure.
Because you're waiting for something
Sure.
special. And this goes all the way back to when we saw Loki with the Tesseract. Like, I remember those end credit scenes, and we was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and
good point.
Those were huge when we saw Thor's hammer in the middle of the desert, and we weren't sure yet about a Thor movie. These were all great things, and we are just trained now to, no matter what. And it's funny because like when you go to the movies, you can tell the people that aren't Marvel people, because the movie ends and they're getting up and you're just kind of like, you suckers, you fools, you have no idea. And then I'm sitting here through 4 minutes of end credit scenes, and you give me this Fantastic Four Scooby-Doo montage by Hanna-Barbera, and I'm just like, this is what I sat here for? This was useless. I was so mad. I was like, I wanted something better. Again,
no, I get your point though. Moving it to the end and just getting rid of the middle one. Yeah, I apologize. I thought you were saying like put the cartoon in the middle. I was like, no, people would literally just be like, okay, see you later. We're done with that.
We did not need the cartoon. We did not need the cartoon.
I like
at all. You could have.
I like a good little FU to the fans, honestly. It's like, yeah, you sat through all this.
Yeah, you could have given us something else. I will say I am interested to see how they plan on bringing in the rest of the MCU. I know Kevin Feige already said that Stage 5 was pretty much a waste, because they really didn't have a direction to go, which makes me sad because there's a couple of characters in Stage 5 that I do like. And I'm scared that they're probably going to get thrown away. Like, I would love to get more Wiccan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's coming. Don't worry about him.
I hope so.
I think he will. I'm not worried about him at all.
I want more Wiccan. I want...
he's going to get reunited with Wanda. He'll be fine. He'll be in Secret Wars, probably, is my guess, if I had to guess anything.
Yeah, and then we can talk about some other time, but it pisses me off that Sony is currently holding Miles Morales hostage, because I love Miles Morales. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping but I'm interested to see how they bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU that we're used to, because it's a different universe. Still want to know where in Mordamu's name did Stephen Strange go when he ran into this cut in time and space and has just disappeared. There is no Sorcerer Supreme right now, and nobody seems to care. So while we have what's his name from Ironheart, the
Hood,
no, the
Mephisto.
We have Mephisto walking around. There's no Doctor Strange to keep a look on anything, whereas Wong is currently on vacation with Marilyn. So I have so many questions, and I'm like, I need y'all to start answering some of these.
I think we're gonna get them. We'll get them next year, my friend.
Answer some questions. And as far as Fantastic Four, as somebody who did not read the comics, I am disappointed at the lack of action in a superhero movie.
For sure.
And I want action. I want people getting punched and kicked and knocked out. I want to see superpowers being used. The fact that Reed Richards it seemed like the only other time that he didn't use his brain, he got stretched out like an old rubber band.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, I feel like, at least in the cartoons, he could stretch way more than that. And it was like, they're not even stretching him that far. And his suit's already ripping, and he's hurting right here. And he's literally, Galactus is playing with him like chewing gum. And I was like, this is... this is wild. But yeah, I have so many answers that I need, and I need to see this Fantastic Four team in action. I'm not looking for the problem solving. Like, I want to see boots to buns, belts.
I think you'll get that in
That's what I want to see.
I think you'll get more of the other people doing that, but I think Reed will be trying to solve the problem. Still try to solve everything. I think it's coming, my friend. But I personally, I get we have different opinions, and that's great, right? That makes good podcasting. It sucks if we're just both agreeing on everything. I'm glad. I loved it. I feel bad you didn't love it as much, but I hope you maybe come around with it. Not necessarily on rewatching. I'm not saying even come around to this like movie. I hope you get to enjoy the Fantastic Four as characters as much as I do when Doomsday comes. I hope they set it up so that you like them a little bit better, because
I hope so.
It's a good time. But we said we're going to do this 20-30 minutes. We've been talking forever. Should we wrap it up, my friend?
Yes. So we can wrap it up. So as you guys were able to see, we didn't put the episode out on Tuesday, but it is out on Wednesday. And we did tell you guys that we would give you guys an episode weekly, but we never said what day of the week.
And going forward, we should be good on Tuesdays. Next week, the next 2 weeks, we're going to do some recapping, because I just got back from Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando Resort, where I visited the brand new theme park, Epic Universe. So I think next week's episode, we're going to be talking about my Disney recap. And the week after that, we're going to talk about Epic Universe. So we got 2 episodes coming down the pipe that we're recording soon. And should be scheduled for the regular Tuesday drop, unless something crazy happens with our daughters, family, lives, whatever. But we should be back on track for a Tuesday drop starting next week.
Yep. Perfect. And with that, our first movie review has been completed.
Good discussion, my friend.
Yes, good discussion. Thank you for educating me on some stuff for Fantastic Four. I've got a lot to think about.
You got some reading to do. I'm gonna let you borrow some books.
I've got some things to check out, and I want to see. I still want to see Ben punch somebody in the face.
Go watch the other one's on Disney Plus. I think you go watch it tonight.
Yeah, maybe I'll go watch that one.
All right, buddy.
Have a good one, everybody, and as always, keep it magical.
See ya. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Dadventures Around the Kingdom. You can listen to the pod on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can also find us on our Instagram at Dadventures Around the Kingdom. If you have any ideas for future episode topics you'd like to hear, be sure to DM us on Instagram or email us at datkpod@gmail.com. Again, that's datkpod@gmail.com. If you want to follow our host Stevie on Instagram, you can do that at StevieJanko. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can also do that by following at Magical Vacays by Cam. That's my travel agency page if you're interested in booking Walt Disney World or Disneyland vacation at no additional cost to you. Feel free to DM me on there so we can definitely talk, and I can get you a free, no obligation quote. Again, thanks for listening to Dadventures Around the Kingdom. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.